Time for pattern predictions. A look at the next 2 weeks of weather from the 1 Degree Outside Weather Network. I'm meteorologist Danielle Noyce, and guess what? Matt just said he was jealous. He doesn't get to do pattern predictions today. We just had a passionate conversation about how fascinating the weather is across the country and here at home over the next couple of weeks, but especially as we head into the start of February, which this pattern predictions will cover. You can get the next 2 weeks of weather right in our free weather app. This is the why behind the forecast. And here comes the polar vortex, that big swirl in the atmosphere. Now, when we get stratospheric warming, so warming high above our heads, that actually causes the polar vortex to kind of splinter off and spill into the United States. So look at that, all the way back down to the Gulf Coast. Yes, the most intense cold from the upper Midwest to here in New England. Temperatures running 20 to 30, even 40 degrees below average at times through the end of the week, through the upcoming weekend. Middle part of next week, still chilly with another disturbance going by. But what's interesting towards the beginning of February and even the last couple of days of January is you notice there's no really well-established polar vortex after that. It takes some time to reestablish. There's different lobes. It splinters off here. So what that may mean is a return to above normal temperatures, or at least some relative warmth that may come back into play. And you can see that at the surface map. This shows the temperature difference from normal. The oranges, the yellows above normal temperatures, and the greens and blues below average. And what you're going to notice here on the map is after a brief little mild air in place for the middle part of the week, there comes that cold air. So actual temperatures for parts of the upper Midwest are going to go 30 to 40 below zero at night. That's without the wind chill factored in. Makes it seem like it's not so bad here in New England, but we get it in by the time we get to Friday night and Saturday. It goes all the way back down to the south. Cold air encompassing much of the country, but you notice a huge swing too by the middle part of next week across the northern plains. There's that temperature difference, that boundary setting up. So a midweek storminess potential here across the eastern seaboard, a reinforcing shot behind that system, and then here's a lot of warmth kind of building back in across much of the country as we head into the start of February. And I think the question is, do we get into some of that, or does the cold try to reestablish and come back into the Northeast, leaving us kind of one of the spots across the country that is still near or slightly cooler than average? So you see that depicted here. Keep in mind, this is a New England-wide average, right? So yes, a little bump up in temperatures here through the 22nd. Then here's that shot of cold, single digits, maybe 11 degrees on Sunday for a New England-wide average. Again, keep in mind, that means much of northern New England is going to be sub-zero for daytime highs. Then we climb back up into the teens and 20s, a lot of next week. And then, yes, we may tick up those temperatures. So that's one thing you may see change towards the end of the period, depending on if that mild air comes back into play. Wow, we haven't had to do this. Sub-zero temperatures on the axis here. So this is for Saturday morning and Sunday morning. Widespread sub-zero temperatures. That means the wind chill is going to be about 10 to 20 below zero at times. Thankfully, with that high pressure cresting overhead, at least across northern New England, there'll be lighter wind on Sunday morning. That said, it's brutally cold. Single digits and then teens towards the end of the period for a New England-wide average. What about the jet stream? Because that helps to steer our storms. And there's a few windows that we're watching, right? Crippling significant winter storm for the southern United States, southeastern United States, back through the mid-Atlantic, the jet stream nearby for Sunday into Monday. So we may get clipped with some accumulating snow as that system goes by. Then the middle part of next week, a little fast-moving dip comes in. So that's another window we'll watch. And then after that, towards the start of February, there's another dip with this little negative tilt to the trough. If it's tilted this way, it's called a positive trough, that dip in the jet stream. But this negative tilt shows there may be some storminess that could back up towards us. So bottom line, I think as we head towards the start of February, there's an open window for storminess because some of the warmth may try to come back in and that battle zone may set up. Bottom line, yes, for Wednesday night of this week, there'll be a chance for some light snow and snow showers. That's the mild air that comes back in. And then for Sunday and Monday, it's elevated. Middle part of next week it is too, from the 27th into the 28th. And then perhaps as we head into the first couple of days of February, depending on the storm track and where those snow belts are going to set up. Precipitation-wise, a lot across the southern United States, southeastern United States with a storm system going by this week that will cause freezing rain, sleet, snow, and that's going to mean some feet of snow in spots with a record-breaking historic storm for some of those areas. And where we've seen so much snow in portions of the upper Midwest will be a little bit lower in terms of totals over the next 10 days. Here in New England, the heaviest snow to our south, but opposed to the last few pattern predictions where northern New England's kind of been the jackpot, This is pretty widespread that all across New England has an equal chance of picking up several inches of accumulation, with perhaps some higher totals along the south coast of Cape Cod, depending on that storm track, particularly if it's farther south with the cold air established in place. So bottom line, every few days, there's something to watch. It's an active pattern. This blast of true Arctic air comes in. You can watch everything, of course, on our stream, 24/7 New England's only weather network, and the first one too. If you want to watch us on TV, open up the YouTube app, search 1 Degree Outside Network. We are always at 1degreeoutside.live as well.